Alexis Nunes alongside the Craig Burley. It's finally here, the Champions League round of 16. We've been itching to get to these fixtures since we knew the draw. I am always
jacket
cold.
On inside.
It's always cold here, but these fixtures are pretty hot, Craig. Let's start off with Roma against Porto.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not having the greatest season, Roma. They usually, they're good to watch in the eye, but they have defensive problems. Porto are going well in their league. I'm going to go for a draw.
Ooh, little fancy.
Obviously over the first leg.
Yeah, for the first leg. These are only our picks for the first leg.
I'm going to go for a draw there.
Roma, like you said, they like to score a lot, but they like to concede a lot. Porto have been flying and unbeaten in 26, but you know what? I think we're going to see a goal fest, and Roma might at least get the edge in the first one. Here's the one we've been talking about for so long now, but we know that the tables have turned positively for Man United and unfortunately for PSG negatively. So how do you think it's going?
Honestly, 3 months ago I came in here, banged this straight up. PSG straight up for a win. The pendulum has swung so far with their injuries that you mentioned, and obviously Solskjaer and Mike Phelan coming in. The feel-good factor is there. However, I still feel over 2 legs that with maybe 1 or 2 coming back, although Cavani's out, Neymar's out, that Paris Saint-Germain might just have enough. But I'm going to go for a Man United win in the first leg. But I'm not sure they'll keep that going over in Paris.
I think I agree. Overall, PSG definitely still favourites with the talent that they have. I'm not too comfortable with Man United's defence, but I think the way things are right now, tomorrow, yes, I think, especially at Old Trafford.
Well, there's a lot of hope there now, isn't there? There is some hope at Old Trafford.
And that does matter. It's been working so far. Let's get to this one. I think this one's a bit tough to call too as well. Spurs up against Dortmund.
I'm going to go the exact same way that I went with this one and for the same, well, not for different reasons. I think Tottenham at home, Wembley, can win this game. I think it's a very even one, although Dortmund are top of their league and Tottenham are not top of the Premier League. 2 kind of similar styles, 2 managers that want to play an open game and entertain. Lucien Favre's done a great job at Dortmund, but they've started to cave some goals. Going forward, they're absolutely great. So I think Tottenham, like Man United, can win at home, but at the moment I'm thinking Dortmund over the 2 legs. But Tottenham to give themselves a chance in Germany.
I agree. I think this one is...
Stop agreeing with me.
It's hard to... I'm saying it's hard to call.
It is
Spurs
hard.
have a way of grinding out some results. No Harry Kane, but other people have been stepping up. Dortmund, they haven't won in 3 games, so I'm sure they'll be rearing to get one.
They're 2 excellent teams.
I'm going to go for a draw. Right, at least in the first leg.
They are 2 excellent teams.
2 very excellent teams. We'll see what happens in the second leg. Ajax up against Real Madrid.
Well, the worm has turned as well at Real Madrid. It seems that the title race is kind of back on a little bit, and Barca dropping points, and all of a sudden I'm going to go for Real Madrid because I think they'll be too strong for Ajax. They're getting better. Benzema's back in the goals. He's made big decisions about Isco. He's made big decisions about Marcelo. They're starting to get wins. They've got a Clásico coming up as well, and then they've got a big Copa del Rey game. Dare I say it, they're in good form at the moment, which is something we haven't said very often this year about Real Madrid.
I think Ajax impressed last year, especially in the group stages, but then not much has been going their way since the winter break. I mean, their players were fighting each other in a shock loss at the weekend, so just for that, that's not the kind of mood you want around the camp up against Real Madrid, who love this competition. With or without Ronaldo or Zidane, I'm going to pick Los Blancos. Thanks so much, Craig. Well, at least 2 separating us. We'll see who buys that lobster dinner. Hopefully, it's Mr. Burley.
Manchester United taking on PSG, and how the odds have changed since the draw was made back in December. Now PSG are favourites, but it's slim, 13-8 on compared to United, 6-5. Jules, it feels apt to start with you. We now know there's no Cavani for this clash. How are you feeling with your PSG hat going into this game?
I'm feeling tense. I have to say the pressure is building up nicely. I mean, if you think about it, since the draw, everything that could have possibly gone wrong for PSG has gone wrong. It started with the Rabiot incident and him being frozen out from the first team. Not really with the agreement of Thomas Tuchel, then the Neymar injury, then the first defeat in the League Cup against Guingamp, then another defeat against Lyon in the league this time, and then the Cavani injury with the Marco Verratti in the middle as well, who will play tomorrow and start, but he's probably only at 50% of his ability. So everything that could have gone pear-shaped has gone pear-shaped, and it's obviously the wrong preparation for a game like this.
The interesting thing on the flip side of it all, when you think of it, Mark, when that draw was made back in, December, Liverpool had just beaten Manchester United, everything was going wrong, but for United now, everything is on the up.
Yeah, the draw was made on the Monday, and I think Mourinho was sacked on the Tuesday. It was just, and everything since then, it's been a complete transformation. So 10 wins out of 11 games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. People like Rashford and Martial are playing to the top peak of their abilities, and I think that United go into this game, there's a real sense now that this is a real big European night at Old Trafford, and there's a real mood of positivity and anticipation. And when Mourinho was in charge, there was none of that whatsoever. It was downbeat, and I think people would have been dreading this tie had Jose stayed. So yeah, everything's changed. I think United go into it favourites, actually. I don't think PSG. I think the bookies on this occasion may have called it wrong. Certainly for the first leg, I think United are favourites. And as we've seen in the past so many times with PSG, they don't rise to the occasion against the big teams.
Mark, what's the reaction been in the UK to what took place and Sarri's setup?
Well, the reaction has been, as typical with Chelsea, whenever they suffer a heavy defeat, it's been what does Roman Abramovich think? What's he going to do next? But obviously Abramovich has taken a bit more of a backseat in recent times, so Sarri survives today. But the reaction has been that, like Steve was saying, this guy's too stubborn, inflexible. You know, the last 3 away games in the Premier League, they conceded 12 goals and not scored any. And, you know, one of those was a 4-0 defeat at Bournemouth. So it's like, you know, you're right about Jorginho. He's too slow. He doesn't do anything. There are people who say, oh, well, at Napoli he did this and he did that. Well, he's not at Napoli anymore. He's at Chelsea in the Premier League, and he's been found out because every team is now putting a man on Jorginho, and he's shutting him down. And the passes are sideways or backwards. He doesn't make a killer pass forward. And, you know, for me, you're taking Kante's strengths out of that team by playing Jorginho there. So Sarri for me is a dead man walking in that job, because, you know, Scolari was sacked 10 years ago this weekend, had a better record than Sarri. They were 4th back then and 5 points clear of Arsenal. So, you know, times have changed at Chelsea perhaps, but there's no, I've said this before, there's no way that Sarri for me will be at Chelsea next season. They're not going to win the Premier League with him in charge, because he's never won anything in his career, and he's not a guy that you'd think will win things. I just don't see how he can with that. He's already been found out, and I don't see it getting any better.
Welcome into extra time. Jules is in a rush. Where have you got to go this time, Jules? Which other broadcaster?
Ka-ching.
Yeah, which one? Is it BBC tonight?
No, it's for the French. It's for the French.
For the French?
French what?
Yeah, I have to be there. But it's okay. I feel like, you know, you and I, we've had a good time tonight. You know, we've said everything we wanted to say. You know, we agreed on a lot of things, so I'm happy.
Meanwhile, Mark is still enjoying life outside of Old Trafford. And what was that noise, Mark? Was that a tram going past?
It's actually a train, yeah. This train goes past every 5 minutes. So trains and taxis and, you know, people.
It's all going. Just like hanging out.
That was a good reason to stand there, though, wasn't it?
Yes. Okay. What is...
The producers definitely don't like Mark, do they?
No. Everyone else is in the warm all the time.
Thanks.
I mean, if they really liked him, if they really liked you, they'd give you a camera in your house.
Like Gavaz.
Like Gab, we need to take that out of his house. Get there and take it out before he kills himself.
What is Craig grumpy about today?
Nothing. Why people think I'm grumpy?
I don't know, Craig. You have actually been quite cheery recently.
Well,
Those glasses haven't been thrown for a while.
Give it time. I know I threw them at Marcotti last night at that camera there.
It's all right. When will Craig support Chelsea like Stevie supports Liverpool?
I don't support a team. I've made that clear. Whenever I've been started broadcasting years ago. It's quite simple, really.
See, when you were a kid?
Yeah, I played football. I didn't watch it too much.
No, but when you were a kid, you must have supported it.
Cumnock Juniors. Serious?
There must have been a team.
I followed Ipswich a little bit in the halcyon days because my Uncle George was there with Mariner and
Halcyon?
and Robbie Robson and all that.
Ooh, so you fill balloons with that?
So as a kid, I was kind of did that, but I didn't support anybody.
Speaking of that, why is Ogden such a Liverpool hater?
I'm not a Liverpool hater. I'm a big admirer of Liverpool Football Club and all their achievements in the past that Stevie Nicol was part of. I think they're a great club.
It sounds like a hostage video.
Tell you what, aye.
Sterling or Salah?
Wow. I would say at the moment, Sterling.
Oh. Stephen?
I'd have to agree.
Liverpool legend Steve Nicol slams Salah.
Dismisses Ghost.
Listen,
How many did he get last year? No, but listen, Sterling.
Salah.
We were just talking about this actually. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
On the phone. Sterling.
Oh, you two on the phone talking about
I called
Sterling
him
and
on the way
Salah.
back. I called him on the way back. He wasn't making much sense. Neither was I. He has taken his game to another level. Everything, touch, strength, vision. I mean, he really has. Sterling.
Jules, who have you got in this?
I will go for Sterling right now as well. I agree with the boys. I think he gives so much to this City team, whether it's with goals or assists or even creating things that, and I still think there's so much room for improvement left in Raheem Sterling that it's actually quite scary for the years to come.
Just show us the room for improvement again, Jules. How big is it?
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
That's about it.
Tell you what.
Now that's how many paychecks he's getting from all the broadcasters. That's the ESPN, BBC, French TV.
Well, we know what.
Aspilicueta.
Right.
I'm sorry, you want me to shut up?
No, I don't know where this is going.
No, I know.
Aspilicueta
You keep
is
saying his name. Is
arguably.
a parrot in here?
A what? Arguably the most consistent and best right back in the country, right? In the Premier League.
Yeah.
Sterling absolutely tore him apart. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to close him, come off him. He couldn't handle him for pace. I mean, you name it, he had Aspilicueta on toast. Say that again.
We know Mark's going to go for because he hates Liverpool, so it'll be Sterling, yeah, Mark?
No, it's Mo Salah.
No!
Seriously, I go for Salah every time. Because, seriously, honestly, look, I just look what Salah did at the end of last season in the biggest games. He delivered, and I think Sterling at the World Cup didn't quite deliver. I just think Salah, for me, still got the edge on Sterling. He's just the man for the big occasion,
Right
more
now.
often than not.
Right now, though, Mark.
But like,
Salah maybe top of the scoring charts, or did Aguero overtake him after his hat trick? Maybe. Anyway, Salah
Steve,
with the
I
amount of
remember,
ball. Go on then.
It's like the thing that Alan Hansen used to say, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent. I think that Sterling's a great player, but I think Salah's just a different level. I think Salah's form might have had a dip, but I think he's a classier player. I think he's a player that, if you're playing in a Champions League final and you don't want a player to get injured after 30 minutes, but maybe that's the wrong analogy. I'd go for Salah in a big game over Sterling every time.
That's only because he didn't do it for England in the semi-final, and Oggy's upset about that.
Bitter.
Because
English
all
fans.
the journalists are all
On the
set.
group
World
stage.
Cup, yeah.
English
all
fans.
the group stage.
Been wondering this. What happens to the Rabiot deal to Barca, Jules? Has De Jong deal impacted it in any way?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, we don't know yet. I don't think Rabiot and his mum, Veronique, know either. The fact is that with Arthur doing so well, I mean, I think the future of Rakitic is a bit unclear, uncertain, so there might still be some room somewhere there for Rabiot, but from being that player that they really wanted, that they pushed to get, and only signed, well, they've only agreed some sort of pre-contract. You know, nothing has been signed, so if they pull out of a deal, it's no problem for Barcelona at all. But I think Adrien Rabiot is really wondering what's going to happen now for in the next 4 months, because that deal to Barca doesn't look that straightforward anymore.
Would Tuchel lose his job if he played Rabiot, Jules? I mean, what is he just? I mean,
Well, I don't think the question is will he lose his job. He just can't use. He can't use him. You know, Rabiot at times doesn't even train with the first team anymore. They send him to the gym or to the reserve team to play with the kids, which is really bad, to be fair. And they're not allowed to do that,
but
so
who
they
said
do
that?
that for 3 or 4 days, and then he comes back in the first team. But no, Tuchel can't say he's going to come, you know, tonight to get the coach and go to the hotel with the team, and he's going to be in the squad tomorrow. He just even can't do that. So I think, which is a weird one, I know, and we've discussed it a lot on the show. And it's a problem, and it's an issue in the sense that, like you said the other day, you're shooting yourself in the foot by not having him available for your manager and for your team. But I don't think right now there's much that Tuchel can do about it anyway.
it's the way football clubs are structured these days. But can you? It makes me giggle. Could you imagine Sir Alex Ferguson in his pomp, somebody telling him? I mean, it would have been a bloodbath. You know what I mean? You can't play him. Even if he knew he was leaving, the player was leaving, and he was personally annoyed about it. If he thought it was going to get him a result, he's playing. It's quite scary, really, isn't it? What's up with you?
Well, when I was at Real Madrid, they did it to David Beckham when he signed for MLS.
Oh, when I was at Real Madrid.
They kicked him out of the first team when he signed his contract.
Really?
Yeah. They said he wants to go off to Hollywood. He's not a Real Madrid player anymore. Then they changed their mind. Then they won the league. There you are. That's my story.
Tell you what a fabulous story that was.
Stevie.
I'm so glad I stayed for it.
Stevie, goat meat or lamb?
What?
What do you
Well, I've never had goat meat,
That's a
to
shock.
be honest with you. So, no question, lamb.
Lamb.
Absolutely.
Ice cream cake or regular cake?
What's an
Ice cream cake.
I've never had an ice cream cake.
I told you like a couple of weeks ago. It was called what was it, a French roll? Remember the ice cream used to Arctic roll?
Arctic roll.
Arctic roll's not a...
Arctic roll, what is it? Sponge
Is that
on the
an ice cream
outside.
cake?
It's sponge on the outside with ice cream in the middle.
Right.
For a man that never eats any sweets, you
I'm not a
know
dessert.
a lot about them.
No, I used to.
That's all right. Should we ask any more questions so Mark can no longer feel his toes? Jules has got to go. Are we done? That's it.
Well, you've got the questions.
ESPN FC is back tomorrow. Manchester United, PSG, the big game. Of course, we'll be talking about that, plus a bit of Roma Porto. Plus, we're going to head to Real Madrid Ajax. Did I tell you the time I was in Real Madrid and David Beckham?
Yes.